Hi, everyone. I am Donna Reed, and this is Donna Reed Talks Voice. And today I will be working with Cam. Hi, Cam.
Hi, Donna.
Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners, a little bit about what you sing, your musical background?
Absolutely. So my name is Cameron Miller. I'm located in the middle of Oklahoma. Um, I haven't done a lot with music since I've dropped out of college and graduated high school. I've been in choir since I was like 3 or 4 years old, and continued with choir throughout my entire school history, past, whatever you want to call it. And I kind of just stopped doing voice throughout college to focus on theater and acting, but that's not where my path is meant to be. So I'm focusing on music and lighting. My favorite musics to sing are anything like Broadway show tuney, jazz,
Okay.
blues, or country music.
So when you did the choirs, what type of music did they do? Classical music? Did they do, was it like show choirs? What was it?
Yeah, so I was in three different choirs when I was in high school. I was in an a cappella group. Also, when I was in high school, I was female. I've recently transitioned and started taking testosterone, so my voice has dropped. Uh,
Okay.
in high school, I was a soprano one through tenor one. So in a cappella class, I sang what we labeled as a bass, but it was just tenor one or tenor two. And then I also did a classical style. We sang German and Italian and French
Okay.
and stuff in choir. And then I also did show choir after school, and we sang pop music, country music, anything that was heavy with a downwards beat.
Okay. So vocally, in terms of music, you've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, I've
cool.
had a lot of
A
different.
wide variety of things. And what I do is I tell people they could sing whatever they want to. It just depends on how you balance the registers, how much chest voice as opposed to falsetto or head voice do you use in the sounds that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, and thanks for sharing about your transition. That's wonderful. That you're open about it. That's amazing. And we'll just see where you're at with that, okay? So I don't know if you've watched my YouTube channel before, but what I always do with everybody is I start them out with breathing. So I have them exhale, inhale as they bring their arms up, exhale, just get the air flowing in and out. So do that a few times. Exhale, and then inhale as you bring your arms up, keep your mouth open. And as you're doing that, our listeners could do the same thing. I love, the interactive thing. So feel the rib cage expanding, feel it contracting, the air goes in, the air goes out. And we just want to feel that movement of air, no matter what you think in terms of quote unquote breath techniques, just getting that air moving. One more time. And back down. Beautiful. Now, what I noticed is that it doesn't seem to take longer with the in breath or the out breath. They seem more or less equal, right?
Yeah.
Some people are different. So if you're out there doing this, you may have a longer out breath and in breath. You may have a longer in breath and out breath. It totally doesn't matter. It's an observation. Well, which way does the air want to go? That seems easy. Beautiful. Let's see where your voice is at. Let's do those three notes with an ah. See what's going on.
I'm sorry. Can you play it? I'm sorry. I'm just one more time. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. No, not a problem. Always ask again. That's not a problem whatsoever. Plain old ah.
Ah,
Just as easy as that. Great.
ah,
Yeah.
ah, 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 ah.
Great. Now, I don't hear that anything's tight or constricted. Anything feel tight or constricted?
No, I sing in my chest voice or my lower chest voice almost all day long. So
Okay. But now that being said, I'm glad you brought that up because that being said, that doesn't mean it's not constricted. Because there are some people who are very happy singing in the chest voice and that's what they do, but it's got a little grab to it. Yours doesn't. I don't hear that. So I just want to make sure that's how you're feeling it without any little grab. Because my job, I listen for anything that might want to shut down a little bit. And if it does, then I notice that and then I do something to free it up. But now let's go the other way. Uh, See how this works with an ooh falsetto. Ooh, see what happens.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Now that's down the octave. You want to go up the octave,
Okay.
up there where that ooh. And if it's not easy, that's one of the things I want to see what happens, okay?
Ooh.
Okay, so now that's a little tight and it's a little bit difficult to get up there to the falsetto, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to do it this way. I'm going to have you do that same note. Can you do the best you can? You know what? I'm just going to show you the sound that you should get. It's what my late husband used to call a pure falsetto.
Okay.
So when the falsetto is a little tight like that, that little cricothyroid muscle, and I'll explain this, I've explained this before on my YouTube channel, I'll explain it again. The cricothyroid muscle is the muscle that pulls the thyroid cartilage, the Adam's apple, forward and down
Yeah.
to stretch the vocal cords for higher pitches.
Yeah.
Now, when that guy's not doing his job, then it's a little difficult to get to that falsetto. So it's just that guy, because you've been using the chest voice so much, sounds like he's not very exercised a lot.
Correct.
Why? My brilliant late husband came up with an exercise which he called the pure falsetto. What that does is kind of isometrically work this little cricothyroid muscle, see if we can get those cords to stretch without that little constriction. So the sound is a very breathy, hooty falsetto sound. So it's basically, and again, it's the same no matter what the vocal mechanism is, it's the same sound. It's real hooty, it's real breathy. See if you can do that sound.
Ooh.
Great. That one didn't shut down.
Okay.
Am I correct? It didn't feel tight?
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Fabulous. Now we got that little cricothyroid guy going. So again, what happens up there, especially a lot of people who sing musical theater, is they want to bring that chest voice up because that's what we want. We want that kind of belty musical theater thing, which is wonderful and that's great. But you always have to have this little bit of falsetto in there. You always have to have this guy in there helping out the chest voice. Let's go higher with it. You approach it exactly the same way and see what's going on. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. You just let me know. I can hear it, usually. You let me know if it's tight.
Okay. Ooh.
Good. Now you notice, even though I asked you to do it breathy, it's not quite breathy. I don't care
Okay.
because it's not constricted. So even though you're thinking breathy and it's not quite breathy, it's not constricted. And that's the number one thing we always look for, what's not constricted. This is
Okay.
brilliant so far.
Ooh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And don't forget, as you go higher, not that you need support or anything like that, just take in a little bit more air.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
Ooh.
Great.
Ooh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, excellent.
Ooh.
Great. I was looking at the piano. I didn't realize how high I was. That's a high C.
Awesome.
What's really good about that is now we have a free falsetto. Now, where it gets messed up in the middle is that it doesn't know how to mix in the chest voice so that you're not just singing a falsetto. But we're going to do that right now. Um, but try not to have any preconceived notions because once we start mixing these two registers, you kind of don't know where they're going to go. So
Okay.
we're going to start with this ooh, same ooh you just did, which was brilliant. Come all the way down. Now, it might do something weird and wonky. It might go, it might do, ooh, it might have a big, it doesn't matter what weird aesthetic sounds comes out. Just go from note to note to note to note on those pitches, see where it goes. So on the ooh falsetto, also, it might all want to be falsetto, might not even want to go into a chest voice.
Okay.
Whatever it wants to do.
Ooh.
Brilliant! Did you hear how smoothly that went into a chest voice?
Yes.
Yeah, and you didn't even think about it.
No, no, it just trying to
It-
do what you ask.
yeah, and that's all I ask. You do that, it's either smooth, it's not smooth. If it's not smooth, I'll smooth it out. So whatever happens with the voice, I just hear it on a functional level, what's going on with the function. And then if the function's not as efficient as it could be, then I change the exercise to make it more efficient. So we're not looking for aesthetics. We're just looking for function, and the function we want is whatever's free. That was brilliant. Do the same ooh, see where it goes.
Ooh.
Yeah. And as we go lower down with it, even the first note that you start with might want to add a little chest voice, but don't force anything. Whatever is easy.
Ooh.
Do you hear there's an edge of chest voice in that top note?
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Good, good, good. You again, you let it do whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
Yeah. And that's easy and that's free. And that's starting to put these two registers together. Now, let me ask you this. When you sing higher, is that where it's a little bit more tricky, trying to get that chest voice a little bit higher with the high notes?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a belter, so I'm used to being able to hit those notes in my chest voice, but I really don't have a falsetto or a head voice. Even when I was a soprano, I was belting. It was never a light, airy, just soprano noise. It was alto singing soprano.
Got it.
So I've never had full control over my higher register.
Okay. Now, well, let me ask you this. These ooh guys that you just did that were on the top,
Mhm.
you consider that a falsetto?
Mm, I think for a traditional cis male, it might be. My brain is still latching onto the actual note that you're playing and trying to sing the female version of it. So it's hard for me to hear the male key of it instead of just singing the note as it is. And that's where my brain wants it to go. And
Got
I
it.
can't physically sing that anymore.
Got it. Now, what you just sang up there, you have to remember that the female head voice, falsetto-y kind of sound, I call it a head voice because the females, the chords are a little bit thicker. It's not quite the same separate falsetto as with males. And the male falsetto, both of those are very, very similar sounds. Now, what you
Mhm.
were just singing now is very definitely a male falsetto. We cut away because I would like to explain something that I just said. I made the comment about the female vocal cords being thicker than the male vocal cords. Obviously, they are not. But what I mean is, in the context of comparing the chest voice to the head voice and the chest voice to the falsetto, normally I use the term head voice for females in blending chest voice, head voice, and falsetto for males, chest voice, falsetto, because the females don't really have a falsetto the way the males do. The males have much thinner vocal cords, relatively speaking, compared to the chest voice in a falsetto than the females have in a head voice. So, in other words, they have the chest voice where the chords are thick, but the head voice is not quite as, the chords are not quite as thin as a falsetto for the males. So, that's what I mean by the females have a little bit of a thicker vocal cords in the head voice. So, that's why you hear much more of a break in general, going from the chest voice of a male to the falsetto, then going from a chest voice for a female to the head voice. I hope that clarifies everything for everybody. Now, what you
Mhm.
were just singing now is very definitely a male falsetto.
Okay, cool.
So I want you to embrace that and not think that that's not the right falsetto. Now, that being said, of course, we can get a little bit more chest voice in there so that you can get a little bit more of a singy falsetto so that you can do Frankie Valli if you want to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but consider that a real falsetto. That's
Okay.
why I asked you what you thought about that note.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah, that's excellent. That's where you're headed because blending this guy with the chest voice is going to give you that big sound. We'll do that in a moment, but I'm going to still blend it in a little bit of a different way. You're going to start with that same ooh, and then you're going to change it to an ah, which is going to change it because I always start the falsetto or the head voice with an ooh vowel because that thins the vocal cords, makes them a little bit more in that falsetto slash head voice side. The ahs, the as, the a's thicken the vocal cords and they give you a little bit more of that chest voice sound. So I'm going to show you the belty guy in a moment, not just yet. But
Right.
when you do whatever belty thing you do, that's leaning toward an ah, ah, ah. That's
Yeah.
leaning toward a much broader sound than this ooh. But
Okay.
right now, we're going to take this ooh, change it to an ah. That ah should bring in just an udge more of chest voice. And it might not this high, but it might lower down. So
Okay.
ooh ah, and then come down on the ah. And again, you just do the exercise, see where your voice goes.
Ooh, ah,
Yeah.
ooh, ah.
Good. And again, nothing's tight, right?
No.
Okay. Always let me know if I don't hear it.
Ooh, ah,
Brilliant.
ooh, ah,
Yeah.
ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
Well, there you go. Now you've got right in that passaggio area. I think I started with the F sharp somewhere up there, and right down to the D. And there you go. You have a beautiful blend of the chest voice and the falsetto. Now that's not the belty sound, of course, but you've got those two registers working together, and nothing's shutting down on you.
Yes.
Now let's take that ah from the bottom up. Aim just with your ear. Aim for that same sound that you did up there with the ooh ah. In other words, it's not that loud, it's not that belty. It's just kind of easy and you let it mix in that way. Now it'll be different coming from the bottom. You might sense a little bit more of a chest voice. Just aim with your ear, just aim for that other sound on the ah and then back down.
Could you play it one more time?
Ah.
Ah,
Now, that was great, beautiful. That's what you want to do. You notice it was different on top.
yes.
But the one thing I'm going to fuss with, and it was good on top, very good, is watch when you went from the bottom up and you didn't do it from the top down. You went, ah, ha, ha, ha.
My bad.
So, but I mean, I'm pointing it out because what that does is that's one of the problems that's one of the things that somebody does that might make it less efficient because
Okay.
by going ha 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 with each one you're pulling the vocal cords apart, and if you want something especially belty or if you want something chestier, chords have to be very close together because that
Yes.
indicates the chest voice. So that idea of initiating a sound with the ha is a habit that does that to the chords.
Okay.
So try it again without the ha-has.
Ah,
Now, do you hear how that was even better on top?
yes.
Yeah. And there was even vibrato coming through. That was a nice mix, and nothing was shutting down.
Right. Yeah.
Now, as we go higher up, be surprised because many times a lot of my students will go into another sound and they'll say, I don't know what that is. That's weird. What is that? I don't know what that is. And that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
You heard it. Oh, good. That's great that you caught it. Beautiful. And
No.
again with the ha-has, the top note is great. I'm gonna have you do this.
Okay.
Sing the same thing. The balances are beautiful. Don't even worry about that. I
Okay.
just want you to move around like this as you're singing.
Okay.
Again, breathe, move the shoulders, and sing.
Ah,
Yeah. So what that does is that prevents the lower rib cage or the abdominal area from wanting to go
okay.
and force out the note with the air. Can you do that again and hold the top note a little bit longer because that was really good. Let's hear what it wants to do. But move around again.
Ah,
Good. You just keep singing and moving around.
ah,
Good. And take a little bit more air. Make sure it's a nice big expansive breath.
ah.
Now, let me ask you this. Those are great. Nothing shutting down. That top note, how would you describe it in terms of chest voice falsetto ratio?
I would probably put it in a mixture, but more chest voice than falsetto or head voice.
That's exactly what I hear. Now, would you sing with that mixture?
Would I?
Yeah.
Probably. Should I? I don't know.
Okay, yes, you should. And I'm
Okay.
glad that you would. Because what I find is when the chest voice and the falsetto mix that well, most people think, well, it's too false. Well, it's not too false because you don't always want to belt everything, right? So maybe you want that note
No.
with not that loud, maybe a little bit of a softer texture to it, for the most part, actually, in musical theater, it's only the money notes where you're really belting, or maybe the
Yeah.
last phrase and all of that. But usually, with the male repertoire, when you're up here, um, you need to be able to do that easily so that you can do 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
Because you don't always want to just boom, boom, boom in your face.
Yeah.
So this nice, soft, textured sound is really good. You know what it's good for? Like if you're singing Being Alive, right? Da da
Hmm.
da 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 dum, ba da da dee da da da, etc., etc. It's not all big. The big comes at the end when he's finally realizing, what he wants to do in life. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So this is a great sound, and you should embrace it and use it. We're going to go higher with it. Same ha. Big breath, a big expansive air was great. Move around and see where it goes. Now, I'll tell you what you did with that one. You were a little cautious.
Right.
Already from the bottom, you were a little cautious because you didn't know how it was going to mix on top. I
Yes.
get that. That happens to my students all the time. So do that again. Let it be the wrong one. Let it be too much chest voice. Don't even think mix or blend or anything. Just go for it. Again, it doesn't have to be belty, but it's strong. Let's see what happens. Good. And the top felt okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you have to really be careful about that ah ha ha ha. And now it doesn't do it on the way down, but it tends to want to do that on the way up.
Okay.
But one more, and then I'm going to show you how to add more chest voice. Good. Now you notice that flip to a little bit more of a falsetto-like sound, right? Now with this level of volume, that's what usually happens on the G. That was the G.
Okay.
Now I'm going to try before I show you how to add more chest voice. I'm going to have you sing that same note and just sing it louder. Try not to anticipate where you think it'll go.
Okay.
Just sing it louder. And again, let it be the wrong one. Let it be the one that maybe is constricted. Who knows what it's going to do? Try not to anticipate. Just go louder with it. Be committed. As I always say to my students, let it be the worst note you've ever sung in your life. We don't care. We're just exploring here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the chest voice just added itself just enough to make it not so much of a falsetto note.
Right.
Now, there was nothing wrong with the other note. The other note was great, but it was more false.
Right.
This has a little bit more chest voice in it. So it depends on the ratio of how much chest voice and falsetto do you want. So you notice the way to get there is when you backed off with the volume on the exercise we just did before this one, it was more falsetto. When you went a little bit louder, it was more chest voice.
Right.
So by loudness, you can do the ratio of chest voice falsetto.
Mhm.
But when it's softer or when it's this soft texture, and there's a little bit of chest voice in there, but it's not out and out belty, you have to remember it's not too soft. And you have to have the energy even if it's soft. Because most people think, oh, more air when it's louder, less air when it's softer. Nope, for this exact same arpeggio, which I'm going to show you right now in another way, it's the same amount of air and energy. It's just a difference in volume depending on what register balance you want.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do, you're going to start this from the top. You're going to do it with a K and an A, and you're going to do it as loudly and as obnoxiously as you can imagine. So it'll go cat, ugly, loud, straight, obnoxious. So
Mhm.
breathe and just let it fly and let it go fast. Cat.
Okay.
All on the A. Cat, even the last one.
Okay.
Now, that was great on top, but it was too pretty. Can you make it a little uglier? Just really,
Ka.
brilliant. Just like that.
Ka.
Nothing's tight, right?
No, it just feels weird.
Yep. And what did I just say a little while ago? When it's different, it's gonna feel weird. Aim
Okay.
for that same sound. That was brilliant.
Ka.
That's it. Yeah, I was gonna say make sure it stays Now, obviously, what I'm doing here is I'm getting more chest voice in the upper part of your voice.
Right.
So you get that by that broad and being loud with it. Great. You just keep going for that obnoxious sound.
Ka.
Exactly. Exactly. And each one is going to feel very different. You just think loud, obnoxious, and let it feel different. Breathe and sing.
Ka.
Yeah. Now you notice there's each one as you go up, there's a little bit more falsetto like participation in there.
Yeah.
But it's still a belty sound. This one a little less belty sounding than the other ones, but that's okay. Now go back to this one. And again, this is the first one we started with. Big, bold. It's not going to be like the one you just did. That's why I'm jumping down now. I want you to sense that. Ha, big.
Ka.
Great. Now you hear that sound, right?
Right.
I'm going to add the fifth below, ca, and go up that way. You know the sound you're aiming for, so just hear that in your ear. Don't worry about where it is or how you feel it. Ca, and then back down.
Ka. I'm sorry, can you play it one more time?
And way up there. You're starting way up there.
Ka.
Exactly. Breathe.
Ka.
Brilliant.
Ka.
Fabulous.
Ka.
Yeah.
Ka.
And then that one backed off. You backed off a little bit, and it was a little bit more falsetto. That's okay.
Okay.
But that was the B. So we got that chest voice up to the B flat. That was pretty easy, right?
Once we got up to it, yeah. Yes.
But weird and different.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, go back to this one. I'm going to have you do it this way. You're going to do a firm ah and a quiet ah, not too quiet, and lots of energy as if it's really, really loud on top, but it's not. So, ah. So you approach it as if you're going to sing it really, really loudly, but you sing it quiet and not too quiet. Good. Do that again. I love the blend on top. Hold the bottom one a little bit longer, and then hold the top one a little bit longer.
Okay.
And then come down. Good. Now you notice that blend on top is not anywhere near like the we just did.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's got that little bit more falsetto participation in there, but it's still chest voice, and that's the F.
Mm-hmm.
So does that give you a little bit of a sense of how to blend these guys up there and what you do?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh, one more thing I want to do before we go. Let me hear what that did to the low notes. Easy peasy, plain old ah. Yep, yep. One more. Good. And that's a G.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good. Now, the reason I did that is after we do this more aggressive chest voice up there, we want to make sure that we didn't over tense the vocal cords in a negative way so that they couldn't relax to get you back down here. So once I knew that we can, even though I heard that those top guys were really good and easy, you felt that they were easy. I just wanted to make sure that we can get back down there in a nice, easeful way. The chords weren't overly tense, and they weren't, and you were able to get down there. Well, you have an amazing voice. It's just getting a sense of, how to blend these registers and how to go here and there. And it has nothing to do with support or placement or anything like that. It has to do with how are you blending these registers.
Right.
Yeah, really, really, really good. Well, thank you so, so much for doing this. It was such a pleasure to working with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me come on and hang out with you. It was
Fabulous.
a lot of notes.
Thanks for watching Donna Reed Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareedtv.com and click Contact.